Test, test. All right, before we start the meeting, there are a couple quick public service announcements. For an emergency, please note the exits on either side of the chambers and proceed down the stairs. The bathrooms are located. The mic is on. Oh. Yeah, I don't know how to. Pete? Is there a way that the volume could be turned up? Is this better? Oh, hi. All right, there we go. So in case you missed it, for an emergency, Please note the exits on either side of the chambers and proceed down the stairs. The bathrooms are located at the door to my left, your right. The women's room's to the right. The men's room is to the left. We allow 30 minutes for public speaking. If you have not done so already through Zoom, you could sign up on the Zoom chat, or if you're here, I think, did we take the? It's on the podium, the sign-up sheet. Please feel free to sign up if you would like to speak. I am now calling this Common Council meeting to order at 7:35 p.m. on November 1st, 2022. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Hill,
Excused.
Alderman Frankel,
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress,
Here.
Alderman Worthington, Alderman Muhammad.
Here.
Alderman Davis. Here. Alderman Oliveri,
Here.
Alderman Shabbat,
Here.
Alderman Hirsch.
Excused. We have a quorum. Thank you. Can I have a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Tony Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 7-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 7-0. All right, my favorite part of the council meeting. As council members, we get the chance to meet folks from throughout the city and from all walks of life. Throughout our service on the council, we meet community members who truly move us by their acts of kindness and their efforts to better our community. Tonight, we recognize and honor a community member who has gone above and beyond to serve and help others with the Common Council Community Award. This month, we are delighted to present Lisa Brown with the award. Ms. Brown was selected by Alderwoman Naima Mohammed, and I now invite you both to the podium at this time. So come on up, Lisa.
Hello? Everyone can hear me? Okay. So Lisa Brown has been dancing since the early age of 5. When her father forced her to participate in an art showcase he coordinated for their community in Staten Island, New York, where she was born. Despite the impromptu nature of this request, Lisa immediately connected with her natural given skill to dance and stole the show. At that point, Lisa recognized her love for dance and realized early on that it was what she was destined to do. Lisa joined her father in an endeavor to start Unique Fitness, a dance studio launched in 2002, geared to attract young performers of Kingston, New York, the community in which she was raised. Lisa taught dancers ranging from elementary age to high school. In 2003, Lisa and her father created a dance troupe called Energy Dance Company, where Lisa was a primary dancer and key instructor. In 2006, Unique Fitness merged with the Center for Creative Education, a nonprofit community organization based in Kingston, New York. She maintained her position as a dance instructor and troupe leader, along with coordinating numerous children's programs and performance events. Lisa's dance training stems from Broadway Dance Studio of New York to Debbie Allen's Dance Academy of Culver City, California. Lisa is known for her always new and fresh choreography and is loved and respected by all of her students as well as their parents. For nearly 20 years, Lisa has impressed others with her dynamic dance skills, combined with her passionate work with children of all ages. She's an avid believer in good mental and physical health and is determined to continue serving as a positive role model for youth. And to you, Lisa, you have inspired many young people in the surrounding areas to be themselves, and to be confident. If that's walking into a room or sharing their name, you do it with confidence. Confidence can get you into places and rooms you'll never imagine, and so will humility, and you have both. As a friend and a community member, I want to thank you for being you. I want you to know that none of your hard work goes unnoticed, and you have touched and influenced so many lives over these years through dance in your unique way to connect with young and older people. I want to highlight your dedication to art, community, your family, but more importantly, your dedication to yourself. That is true work. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words?
Hey, thank you. I would just like to say thank you, Naima and Matula Muhammad. We go way back. Naima tried out for our dance company, so she was on Energizers, and back then she was still like a little advocate. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, I'm not doing that move. I'm like, okay, can we figure it out? But no, I'm excited that I am able to be part of Kingston and be a community leader and teach healthy mind, healthy bodies to everyone, and just create a safe place. And thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Thanks.
Thank you. Congratulations, Lisa. We're now entering into the public speaking portion of the meeting. We have allotted 30 minutes for this purpose. Speakers will have 3 minutes. If there are remaining speakers after 30 minutes, I will call for a motion from the council to extend the period for another 30 minutes. Speakers, please direct your comments to the chair, as council members cannot engage in debate during this time. Please state your name and address on the record before you address the council. For the audience in chambers and on Zoom, there shall be no distractions when a speaker is addressing the council. The Common Council has also received written comments for our consideration, and they could be found on the city's website under tonight's agenda. Can I have the first speaker, please?
Ann Ames.
Yes, my name is Ann Ames. I live 207 Down Street in Kingston. And I'm here today to speak for the residents of Kingston and against Resolution 192, which is the purchase of lot 623 to 629 on Delaware Avenue. I also sent out petitions. I don't know whether the council members and the clerk got them yet. I sent them really late on email. So we got like over 200 signatures so far against the purchase, selling lot 623, not lot 623, 623, 629 on Delaware Avenue. Because it seems like a really big smack in the face when we're having a major, major housing crisis in Kingston, and abandoned property is being sold to developers. Developers who are going, it says that they're going to, rent it out for $2,300, which is way above the average person in Kingston's price. We have lost a lot of people in Kingston due to being priced out. As a matter of fact, we had a housing coalition that's down to 2 people now because 8 people in the housing coalition got priced out. I don't understand how we are putting profits over people in Kingston. Time and time again, there's all these great big ideas behind new people coming in. And we need to have this new and that new. And we got uptown, we got downtown. And meanwhile, day after day, there are people moving out of Kingston all the time. I see it because I work down at DSS, and I see it all the time. There is at least 2 or 3 people, families or not, that are leaving Kingston. As a matter of fact,
30
Rubco
seconds.
is giving people's vouchers to go to Greene County. I didn't even know they can do that without, having some kind of agreement. But, that's what's happening. And I think that everyone really needs to consider when they vote on this resolution, who are you voting for? Do you guys care about the people that are leaving Kingston because they can't afford to? Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Tyler.
Thank you. My name's Tyler Vanderhaeg. I live at 72 Wall Street. I'm also an organizer with Citizen Action of New York. I'm here to echo the sentiments that Ms. Ann just said about the property at Delaware Avenue. The council's been taking great leadership on the housing crisis in Kingston this past year with opting into Good Cause and the ETPA. And so I'd like you guys could continue your leadership and not sell this property to developers for pennies on the dollar of what it's worth. We need to be leaders here. We have many abandoned properties here in Kingston. The city can do more to provide those, to rehab those properties and to provide them to people who actually can use and need them, and not for people who are going to be renting them for $2,300 a month that no one, real working people, are able to afford. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Callie Jane.
Hi, my name is Callie Mackenzie Jane. I'm here to echo the sentiments of Miss Ann and Tyler. I am a homeowner in Ward 7 on First Ave, and everything that they said is very real and very true. We are in a housing crisis, and we know that we are in a housing crisis. And this developer has an opportunity here to be making a lot of money off of people here in the city of Kingston. I walk my dog past that house on a regular basis and saw that there were families that were living there at some point, and those people were displaced and they were kicked out. And so more than just looking at this one particular situation and going house by house, abandoned property by abandoned property, we need to have a real clear plan of what we are going to do as a city to ensure that when there are abandoned properties, that we are not just forced to give them to developers. We have a developer that is saying they're going to charge $2,300 a month for rent, $2,300 a month for rent. And that, yes, they're going to invest some money into it, but they are going to make that money back so quickly. And we are continuing to allow developers to put their profits over the people. We know that $2,300 is not affordable for anybody. And if we actually approve this and we actually hand this over, this just really sets a precedent that we are going to allow foreclosed properties, which are taken from people who then can't afford to live here, given to people who are developers, given to organizations, given to businesses, and then they are going to be able to charge people more money to be able to live here. And so the question again and again is just like, who do we want to live here in the city of Kingston? Because over the years that I have been here, a different housing group, but our housing group, the majority of that committee moved out of Kingston because they were forced out of Kingston. DSS is placing people in motels. We have had many conversations about this. People are living in motels, being sent to Kerhonkson and away from their families because they are losing their homes. And we have the ability as a city to actually look at this property and other properties and figure out how we're actually going to make affordable housing. So thanks for listening.
Next speaker. One online. Our new technology that this is the first time using it, so thank you for your patience. So our next speaker is on Zoom.
And it's Pat Pelicano.
Hello, check, check. Can you hear me?
Hi, Pat. If you could just hold on for 1 second, can we just turn the volume up?
All good, yeah.
Never mind, I have the control. Hold on.
Mhm.
All right, Pat, can you just say hi again?
Yep. Hello.
All right, thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Great. Yeah, my name is Pat Pelicano. I live at 43 St. James Street. Would just like to echo the sentiments of yeah, my fellow neighbors that just spoke before about the need for really robust housing policy in Kingston for affordable housing. Yeah, this example of the property on Delaware Avenue being sold to a developer who's gonna yeah, rent it out for $2,300 a month. $2,300 is I don't know, what's the word? I mean, for who is that accessible for? Not the people that are being priced out. You know, all the other housing initiatives, as Tyler mentioned, you know, the Common Council is making some pretty good strides in terms of, you know, rent stabilization and some other things, but the amount of abandoned buildings in Kingston is just wild that are just being held on to by, yeah, millionaires and developers that just sit there empty while, you know, mid-century modern furniture companies come in. It's like we can see who they're trying to aim for in terms of the kind of offerings that are now going into those, you know, what was once the Catskill Art and Office Supply in Uptown is now mid-century monitor furnishings. I mean, you have to make $2,300 a month to be able to shop in stores like that. But yeah, I would just champion or just echo that we need to try and do more for affordable housing in town. And yeah, when people are being like living in motels and hotels all over the place, and you know, every other week it's a story about some friends of mine who have lived here forever who now, yeah, their rent is being jacked up, and you know, the rent guidelines board only covers 1,000 units or something around that in the city of Kingston. Meanwhile, since the pandemic, the number of people I've seen being kicked out
30 seconds.
because yeah, landlords are raising rents to unreasonable levels without, you know, justifiable expenses on those properties. Yeah, it's just really mind-blowing. And yeah, we're just going to lose a really important aspect of the city when we just, yeah, put profit over people. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Any other speakers?
Katrina, and we will need your last name, please.
Hi, my last name is Hauser.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Hi, my thing is, my daughter has been misplaced for years, through DSS. A tree fell on her house and she got placed in the motel. She couldn't find affordable housing here, and now they have her all the way out in Catskill. The problem with that is they have these individuals placed so far away with no transportation or nothing to be able to do anything, to get the kids to the doctor's appointments or anything. So and it's getting worse. I'm facing an eviction right now, and I paid my rent all through the COVID, but because somebody bought the building and they have an Airbnb underneath me, they want us out. So here I go. I'll become misplaced and might have to get put in who knows where, because I just got help from DSS, you know, and it's like, it's very scary what's going on with us that have been longstanding community members. Like I had my daughter here. She's had all her 5 of her children here. So that we have history here and we're losing that because we have nowhere to go. So like, that's basically all I wanted to say. Like, somebody has to help us to be able to still live. The cost of living is getting higher, but the pay rate for us to be able to survive isn't. And we need a lot of help in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more speakers? Does anybody else would like to speak in chambers or in Zoom? You could raise your hand in Zoom. All right, we have somebody else in Zoom.
You're logged in as Celebrate 845. Please give us your name and address for the record.
Hi there, my name is Jamie and I'm a Kingston resident.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, no problem. My name is Jamie and I'm a resident of Kingston.
Jamie? Okay.
Yep.
Can you say your last name, please?
Yeah, it's Shannon.
Can you spell that, please?
Sanin.
Thank
Great,
you.
Thank you. You have 3 minutes.
Thanks so much. And hi to everyone that's there in person, and hi to everyone that's here on Zoom, sending care. Just wanting to really echo so many of the sentiments that I've heard tonight. As someone that's grown up in the Hudson Valley, I've had to move 6 times in 4 years due to like multiple corporate landlords who own multiple properties and who are really just exploiting the resource that is housing. It's not like a luxury, it's really a human right. We're all born into this world and need a place to live and stay warm and put our stuff and be with our people. So to prioritize the needs of, you know, these non-people, but rather these businesses, corporations, etc., over the needs of human beings that need a place to be warm and to wash their hair, I think would just be really upsetting. I'm not sure how anyone could do that, but I guess they can. But I guess, you know, here in Kingston, like many places in the valley, like many cities here in the valley, people need the help. And it's not, I need help, you know, paying for something super luxurious. It's, I need a place to live. And $2,300 a month, it's just unrealistic. And that's not like a person that doesn't have a job. That's somebody with a job. That could be a couple, both with jobs. Folks have student loans, folks have families, folks have pets, folks need to drive. It's just not affordable. So I hope that y'all decide to use your power and privileges to stand with human beings and not with businesses, because people need places to live. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any more speakers? No? All right, now I'll close the public speaking portion of the meeting. We now enter into claims and communications. All right, she was, whoever it was, put their hand up as I was speaking, so we'll do one more public speaker.
Jordan, and we will need your last name for the record, please.
Yes, my last name is Williams.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone who's present here. Thanks to everyone who has shared and spoken both in person and via Zoom. I just want to uplift what all has been shared. I was reluctant to come off mute because quite frankly, I think it's ridiculous that anyone needs to get on here to express that $2,300 a month is not an affordable rent. I mean, first of all, as the last person shared, why is housing not considered a right that everyone has access to? And so that's a question that I think we all need to sit with. Why is it being recommended that these lands be put towards a developer? And then in the letter, it's referencing the housing crisis. There doesn't seem to be an understanding of the housing crisis if this property is being put forward for a rent of $2,300 that we know is not affordable for so many residents of Kingston, people who have lived here for generations, and who we just say, oh, well, that's just the market. That's just the system. It's that same system that enslaved my ancestors. It's that same system that stole indigenous land and continues to sit on it and hoard it and say, oh, our hands are tied. We just got to go with what the market says. That's absurd and it's ridiculous. And so I just want to uplift the care and the passion that folks had to come here to say what doesn't even need to be said. This shouldn't be happening in Kingston or anywhere else in the world. And so I want to know, what's the answer and what's the solution? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to people who can't afford the $2,300, who can't afford the $2,500, who can't afford to continue their lives in this place? Honestly, that's all I really have to say. To me, it just makes no sense. And I don't think there's a way to make it make sense. And so I ask that people really grapple with, what are we doing here? Do we really care about people? Do we really care about their dignity? Do we really care about the families that continue to be displaced and torn apart because folks just can't afford to live here? We all know it's happening, and it's the folks in the positions of power who are responsible. And with that, I'll end.
All right, thank you. We're now going to close public speaking. We now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they will be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills and pay same? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Tony Davis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 7-0. We now enter into the report of committees, starting with resolution number 212.
Resolution 212 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving Resolution 192 of 2022, approving the transfer of 623 to 629 Delaware Avenue to POK Beacon LLC.
On the question, Alderwoman Rita Worthington, then I'll go with Rennie and then Carl.
Thank you, Madam President. So from the beginning, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? All right. Okay. So from the beginning, I was opposed to this resolution. And while I understand that it's going to take a large amount of money to rehab this property, I am, still disturbed and concerned that renters will have to pay upwards of $2,300 a month for rent in the current climate that we live in. I personally asked the developer if he had other properties in and around Kingston, and I was told yes. The next question was, are any of the properties considered affordable? And I was told no. And so while I know that we've taken some forward steps to ensure that the burden is no longer on tenants, I do believe we need to do more. And I think that the city can do more. And so I was opposed from the beginning, and I continue to be a no on this resolution.
Thank you. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you. I totally agree. We need to do more. I think there are a lot of problems with the system that we have that we'd like to correct. Some of them are national in scope. Some of the ones are, of course, are ones that we can definitely work on here. In this particular case, so I'd like to provide the context to think about this. Since I've been on the council, I've been part of approving 4 RUPCO facilities that have provided now and will provide hundreds of units of affordable low-income housing. I've been part of saving the 2 elder care facilities for low-income elderly folks in town, Yasmin Towers, as well as the Governor Clinton. We're in the process now of working through the development of 160 units that'll be low-income and workforce housing income level units. So we've been working very hard to create units, more and more units in Kingston. We're painfully aware of the problems that have been faced by people at the low end of the income spectrum in terms of housing. We've seen, though, as our comptroller, county comptroller recently pointed out, that we need housing at all levels of income, all levels. Studies going back 20 years have shown this. So in this particular case, we have a property that our choice is basically we can accept the current proposal or we can let it sit there and rot. The organizations that look into developing affordable housing, all of them passed on this property because of the state that it's in. And so the property owes $150,000 in back taxes. If we went to the other alternative in this particular case, which would be auction, there's a very high possibility that virtually no one would put in a bid, and the person who's offered $150,000 could put in the lowest possible bid and save even that $150,000. So in this particular case, we also know that our housing director actively sought out people to develop this property, low income at any rate. And this is the only person who came forward with any kind of suitable deal. So in this particular case, it's a question of what is the best possible deal given the circumstances that we've got. That's why I'm in favor of this deal. I don't think we can find a better one in this case. While I totally am on board with trying to fix the problems that we have, I've demonstrated that by constantly supporting the development of low-income housing. And there are actually a number of items on the docket tonight that will ease some of the problems that we have here in Kingston with housing. So for all those reasons, I'm in favor of this resolution.
Thank you. Alderman Carl Frankel.
Thank you very much.
Carry your microphone with you. Thank you.
I would like to, Rennie Scott Childers sort of stole my thunder. He said, made pretty much everything I want to say. And what I'd like to make clear is that this is kind of a false choice between affordable housing or higher rent housing, for the simple reason that the Director of Housing, as I understand it, as Rennie said, worked very, very hard to get somebody to do affordable housing there and could not find anyone. So that leaves our choice, either a property in a state of very bad disrepair or the option that we have. And I'm going to vote in favor, although I will say the passion and the articulateness of the people who spoke was very moving and very compelling. And I do believe it's a critical issue. I think everybody on the council believes that affordable housing is a critical issue, but this is not an example for me of disregarding the people to favor corporate developers. We have no choice but to accept this developer. And for that reason, I'll be voting in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderwoman Naima Mohammed, and then Alderman Steve Shabbat. And then Jim.
Thank you. Just going to keep it simple. As a young person who have just started their career and doing well, I cannot find affordable housing. So I will be respectfully a no. And I want to say thank you to all the speakers tonight.
Thank you. Alderman Steve Shabbat, and then.
Thank you. I'd like to start out by saying I certainly don't disagree with a lot that has been said. Some folks spoke very passionately about affordable housing here. And, you know, to me, this is not if you vote for this, you're not voting against affordable housing. Quite simply, my understanding is this is the only bid we got on this property. There were no plans for affordable housing there. It's not like we voted against affordable housing. This is an opportunity. You know, if I had my druthers, yes, I'd rather see affordable housing go in there, but there have been no plans for that. I see this as an opportunity for us to get our taxes back on this property, as well as get it back on the tax rolls. I think this council and, you know, every council I've been on for several years, we have backed affordable housing. We've done everything we can to bring affordable housing to the city. We're not here to argue that there's not a need. Of course, there is a need for every level of housing in this city. I'm finding it myself as I'm getting near, you know, to moving from my house into properties. You know, there's really not a lot of places to go. So anyway, I mean, I just want to make that point. I don't think this is necessarily against affordable housing here. I do think this is an opportunity for the city to realize getting a property back on the tax rolls. I would think the neighbors would be happy, you know, to see you know, the improvements being made. And I'm sure the only reason we got one bid is because the property is so deplorable. I mean, it's an awful condition. And I don't think anybody wants to take that on, you know, whether it be affordable or not affordable. You know, obviously, you know, I think it's a good location, but, you know, I can only guess that the condition of the property prevented anybody from bidding on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Michael Iveri.
Thank you, Madam President. Almost everyone else who is in favor of this kind of stole my thunder, to quote Carl here, but I just want to reiterate what everyone else has said. The city has tried to offer this as low-income housing. You know, we have rules and policies in place that give preferential treatment to developers who will do this as low-income housing, but as has been said before, no one came to bid. No one stepped up and said, yes, I will take on this property and make it low-income housing. You know, I don't think anyone here who will vote yes is going to be happy with this vote at the end of the day, but we did everything within the rules and regulations that we could, and unfortunately, it's, you know, this was the only developer who took this option on. You know, I understand the need. I have friends in this town who are going to be displaced because of the astronomical price of rent right now. Rent is higher than my mortgage right now by $700 for what this developer is looking. So I understand it, but from a council perspective, we did everything that we could to have an option for low-income housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderman Tony Davis.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, I'm going to echo what's been said up here. The crusader of low-income housing in the city of Kingston in Ulster County, RUPCO, looked at this property and stated that they could not afford it with the renovation cost that was going to need to do this. The city land bank that we've set up and for this purpose and could not take this task on. And so then the only options were left were to lay the property as it is. So then as the years go on and the weather goes more, the building gets more and more deteriorated, and then it's going to be even harder for anybody to find a bidder for this property, and it's going to just cost more, and nobody's going to want to take this property on, so then the property is going to wind up sitting there. The city of Kingston is not, the city of Kingston is not into the housing. That's why we set up the city land bank. They looked at it, they took it on, they again said that they couldn't do anything with it. They looked out to put it out for bid. Low-income housing looked at it. RUPCO did not put a bid on it. All right? If RUPCO's not going to put a bid on it, there's not many other low-income housing developments that are going to put on this. So again, as it's stated, we have two options. We either need to keep on sitting there deteriorating, or we sell it to the highest bidder. I'm for that. If we want to see, if people out there don't think that City of Kingston or Common Council is doing our due diligence, let's put it out there and bid, and we'll see what it comes in as, and we'll see what kind of housing is going to be developed there, if any housing is going to be there. We put it out for bid. Somebody could bid $1, could bid $100, and they don't have to do anything with the property. They could just sit there and have it sit there for the longest time and pay the taxes on it, or not pay the taxes on it, let it deteriorate more, or wait for somebody to come in with a higher bid and say, here, I'll buy this for you. And then we're back in the same place because that person who buys it is not obligated to make a low-income housing. He or she, corporation, whatever, can do whatever they want with it. So, and that is my decision on this. So I'll be a no vote on this because I would like to see other people vote this down so then we can let the people of the city of Kingston know that we did our due diligence, and we'll see then how this property is going to turn out. Thank you.
Alderwoman Rita Worthington.
Sorry, we can't hear on Zoom.
Oh, thank you. Please use your microphones. Thank you on Zoom.
Thank you, Madam President.
So you, please use your microphone. Thank you.
So are we really selling it to the highest bidder, or we're selling it for the back taxes on the property? And, okay, the highest bidder, $150,000, which he will make back for $2,300, upwards of $2,300 to $2,500, because that's what he told me. And so I really think that, I do think that the city can do more. I think that we keep saying that we've exhausted all of our
Rita,
options.
can you turn? I'm sorry, Rita. I think you're. Oh, it's on. Oh,
I'm not talking loud enough. I just think that we, as a city, should do more. The current climate that we live in right now is awful. I know that we need all types of workforce housing, but I don't think that should be our main focus right now when we know 100% that people have nowhere to live. And my mother used to say a saying that you can't be hot or cold with this. You can't play one side to the middle. We're saying, I know there's a housing crisis. I understand that, but yet I'm going to still say yes to this. Either you're yes or you're no. Either you're for affordable housing or you're not. And I remain a no on this.
Anyone else? Alderwoman Naima Mohammed.
Again, just very quickly after hearing my peers, I just want to talk about natural consequences, right? I just want to put that out there just for food for thought. Natural consequences. I'm talking about natural consequences. I'm new to lawmaking, new to all of these things, but I understand the concept of natural consequences. And right now, I currently feel like we are adding to the crisis, adding oil to a fire. And also, I want to say that as lawmakers, I think it's really important to be concerned about the people that are going to be most affected by policies and legislation. So that's all I want to say. And I don't want to be redundant, but we really need to start thinking about the people that are most affected. The DSS conversation that has been brought up multiple times tonight is a real thing. I saw it when I was working at DSS at 22 years old. I didn't understand. I was like, why am I driving? Am I getting mileage? Right? I was a caseworker, right? Like I was concerned about mileage back in the day, but now I'm understanding more like, no, these people are being displaced, like they're being out there because of this kind of situation. This was years ago. So I can imagine what it is now. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderman Tony Davis.
I just want to restate that I am not hoping that the city fails, but the other option, I'm just trying to state the options here, and that if we don't sell it to this high bidder, and if we don't sell it to this high
Tony, if
bidder,
you could just lift your mic up.
all right.
Eat
I'm
the
just trying to
mics.
state that if we don't sell to this high bidder right now. If it goes back, it's going to go out to bid. And that means then anybody can come in here and bid what they want for this property. And it might not even be close to what we are going to receive now. And so then again, with the deterioration of the property and the back taxes and what has already been stated, it's going to be the cost to rehabilitate this housing. And we might have a concern here. But again, I'm willing to be a no vote, and so that we can go back to that process. So many people in the city of Kingston can see that we're doing our due diligence to try to do and bring more affordable housing to the city of Kingston.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderman Carl Frankel.
Wouldn't help to address the affordable housing crisis if we were to vote no, because we just have another property in disrepair that nothing was happening with. If in fact we hadn't done our due diligence, what Tony is saying makes sense. But I believe we worked very hard. I think we've done it. I think our job is to communicate that we've done it. And that's what I'm trying to do now. And I continue to be a yes on this. Thank you.
Alderman Steve Shabbat. Remember, you only have 2 times on the floor, so just,
Okay.
but yes,
I'm
please.
at the end, you're saying, right? Okay. Yeah, I agree with Carl. I think we have done our due diligence here. We've had long debate about this. We have done everything according to the law. We have put this out according to all the procedures that we have in place. Again, we got 1 bid. If we do this again, we may get no bids, in which case this property is going to sit there. And if you haven't been past this property, you should look at it, because I can't even imagine it would weather another winter. I mean, it's in such bad shape. So, we do have an offer on the table. We could come away with no offers if we decide to rebid it. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Alderman Michael Oliveri.
I'll just make this real quick. A no vote doesn't guarantee that this property becomes low-income housing. I can say with almost 100% certainty that it will just sit there. And if we vote no, and then it goes back to a bidding process, an auction process, this same gentleman, as it was stated earlier, could bid $1 if he was the only one. And now we lost $149,999, and he's still going to charge $2,300 and just pocket even more. Thank you.
Rennie, you're the last one who has a second time. You good? Okay. I'll ask for you to raise your hands for this vote, please. Can we have the resolution read again, and then I'll call for the vote?
Resolution 212 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving Resolution 192 of 2022, approving the transfer of 623 to 629 Delaware Avenue to POK Beacon LLC.
All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 4-3. The yes votes were Carl Frankel, Rennie Scott Childress, Michael Oliveri, Steve Shabbat. The no votes were Rita Worthington, Naima Mohammed, and Tony Davis. Moving to Resolution 213, please.
Resolution 213 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, supporting the Clean Water, Clean Air, Green Jobs Environmental Bond Act of 2022.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Moving to Resolution 214, please.
Resolution 214 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving participation in the Ulster County Housing Smart Communities Initiative.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Here we have precisely what some of the folks who were here just a few minutes ago were asking for. I noticed they're not here now. And this is part of the process that we've been involved in for a long time. I'd like to thank Barbara Hill for bringing this to our attention. This is looking at the housing crisis, not just as something within Kingston, but as part of a larger process so that we can be involved with the County of Ulster, making sure that we know about any of the newest possibilities for developing housing for people, particularly at the low end of the income scale. I think this goes hand in hand with a lot of the other things that we've done before, such as requiring that any new development over 5 units has to have 10% affordable units with it. Not to mention all of the other projects that I discussed earlier that we've been involved in. So I'm very happy to be in support of this particular resolution. I hope folks will come out too. We're going to be deciding on the fate of the 160 units out at the old jail site on Golden Hill very soon. So I hope folks who are in favor of affordable housing will come out for that positive project that will create, I think, a real powerful place, particularly as it's very much involved with the Family Woodstock organization. It's going to be a place where a lot of people will receive really important care. So I'm in favor of this resolution.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Moving to Resolution 215, please.
Resolution 215 of 2022. An ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, removing 2-hour parking on Foxhall Avenue.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Moving to Resolution 216, please.
Resolution 216 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving the city's American Rescue Plan guidelines for procurement of goods and services and the American Rescue Plan guidelines for subrecipient selection and monitoring.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Moving to Resolution 217, please.
Resolution 217 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending the Washington Avenue Sewer District Agreement with the Town of Ulster.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I'd like to make clear to folks who, if they're only looking at the surface of this particular one, this is another part of our project as the Common Council, City of Kingston, to try to work with different organizations to expand housing for low-income people, as well as for people who face various kinds of disabilities. This is, in fact, making it possible to a great extent for the Rupco project at the Old Quality Inn, just west of Kingston, to become a large housing facility developed by Rupco. This is important to be able to provide for them water for that facility so that it can go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. Moving to Resolution 218, please.
Resolution 218 of 2022. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Resolution 187 of 2022, approving a 2022 transfer in the Planning Department in the amount of $8,155 to continue a landmarks preservation project.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 7-0. We now move to our local law readings. All 3 of them are first reading. Local Law 3, please.
Local Law 3 of 2022. Local Law 3 of 2022 of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the Non-Toxic Landscape Maintenance Act of 2022, requiring non-toxic landscape maintenance and all land owned or leased by the City of Kingston, with exceptions and waivers in appropriate circumstances.
There's no action tonight. It is on our agenda if anybody wants to look at more details from the public. Moving to local law 4, please.
Local Law 4 of 2022 of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the amendment to Article 5, Payment of Delinquent Taxes by Installment, Section 360-27, Terms of the Code of the City of Kingston.
Alderwoman Rita Worthington.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to make a motion to suspend the rules for an amendment to this local law.
Second by Rennie Scott Childress. All in favor to suspend the rules? Opposed? Rules are now suspended. Can you just say your reason why, and then Elisa will read through the new local law.
Yeah, we'd like to amend local law number 4 to change from 4 units to 3 units to match the homestead, non-homestead of our code.
Elisa, can you read the law, and then I'll just call for the vote.
Local Law 4 of 2022 of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the amendment to Article 5, Payment of Delinquent Taxes by Installment, Section 360-27, Terms of the Code of the City of Kingston.
Rita Worthington has the motion. Is there a second? Rennie Scott Childress seconds it. All in favor to make this amendment? Opposed? The amendment is made 7-0, and we are back in order. Now that we're back in order, can you please reread this for the official first reading? And again, it will be on the city's agenda for any folks from the public to read through it.
Local Law 4 of 2022 of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the amendment to Article 5, Payment of Delinquent Taxes by Installment, Section 360-27, Terms of the Code of the City of Kingston.
Thank you. Moving to local law number 5, please.
Local Law 5 of 2022 of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the replacement of Section 195-1 disorderly conduct definition in the Code of the City of Kingston.
All right, this concludes our communications. Before we adjourn, does anybody have anything? All right, then I will take a motion to adjourn. Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Naima Mohammed. All in favor? Opposed? We hereby stand adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting on December 6, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. Thank you very much.